Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. How odd. How interesting is that? The Perkins Coie law firm, the corrupt, Democrat-run machine behind the Russia hoax, the endless Trump impeachments, the shady 2020 election law changes, and basically every major left-wing political coup of the last decade, just so happens to be representing none other than Ray Epps, the guy who on January 6th was literally caught on camera inciting the crowd to storm the Capitol. The everybody storm the Capitol guy. You couldn't script this any better if you tried. The firm that worked hand in hand with the DNC, Hillary Clinton, and Mark Elias to smear Trump with fake intelligence from foreign agents, the firm that ran interference for Biden, the firm that's practically an arm of the deep state, is now swooping in to protect the man who should technically be the #1 poster boy for the January 6th insurrection, the top insurrectionist. Well, like I always say, there are very few coincidences in the world of politics, and this latest story has got red flags all over it. It certainly raises eyebrows and certainly raises some very interesting questions. Let's get into that, shall we? We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so this just popped up on my timeline. We've got this post from Leading Reports. Breaking: Perkins Coie, the law firm that funded research for the Trump-Russia dossier, which was financed by Hillary Clinton, is now representing infamous J6er Ray Epps in his lawsuit against Tucker Carlson. Think about it. Every single Trump supporter who stepped foot inside the Capitol that day, whether they were taking selfies or just following the crowd, got the book thrown at them. We just covered a story of one J6er who was being threatened with 20 years plus in prison and was being strong-armed to flip on other people who were present that day with the threat of never seeing his family ever again. These people were called terrorists, thrown in solitary confinement, giving years-long prison sentences for trespassing, held in captivity without even a trial date. The media still refers to J6 as the darkest day in American history, worse than Pearl Harbor according to Kamala Harris, worse than the frickin' Civil War, I guess. Yet Ray Epps, the guy who was actually caught yelling "we need to go into the Capitol" the night before, the guy whispering into people's ears right before they breached the barricades, well, this guy very conveniently was never charged with any crime or even conspiracy of a crime. No, he got a sweetheart plea deal, and now a high-powered DNC-connected law firm is representing him in a lawsuit against Tucker Carlson? Come on. Ray Epps wasn't just some lost MAGA guy who got caught up in the moment. He was the moment. He was front and center, calling the shots, instigating the charge, whispering into people's ears like a handler guiding assets. And I'm not just saying that. We've covered it, the literal video proof of everything that I said, and even people pointing at him and chanting "Fed, Fed, Fed," because even they in real time knew that something was off about this guy. He stuck out like a sore thumb, yet despite all of this, while grandmas and meme lords were getting locked up for standing outside the velvet ropes, this guy got off with nothing. If that doesn't set off every alarm bell in your head, then you are not paying attention. And here's a very important question. Why would a Democrat law firm that claims to be protecting democracy, yeah, I'm sure they really protected democracy in 2020 with all of those election laws that they got passed, but anyways, why would this law firm that's supposedly defending American democracy defend the alleged lead insurrectionist? The guy who, if the official narrative were true, should be public enemy #1. Well, I'll tell ya, it's likely because Ray Epps wasn't working for Trump supporters, he was likely working against them. This has cover-up written all over it. This has protect the asset written all over it and destroy the enemy. And the enemy of the day, I guess, is Tucker Carlson, who hasn't exactly bit his tongue on the issue.
Ray Epps is one of the only people caught on camera that day encouraging others to break the law. He's one of the only ones. And yet he's never been charged. And the January 6th committee was on his side. Why was the committee working so hard to help Ray Epps? So because there's no other crime going on, the Biden Department of Justice has announced it's going to try and jail another, well, up to 1,200 protesters from January 6th. Is Ray Epps going to be among them? Considering he's on tape multiple times calling for people to break the law? We'll see. We'll be watching, actually. If they don't sweep up Ray Epps, then they've got a few questions to answer.
And so it's obvious what's happening here. The DNC's favorite law firm is now being weaponized to attack the man who was hot on their trail. There's no coincidence here. No more so clear evidence of a connection. The moment you're connected to Perkins Coie, well then we instantly know exactly who you are. This is the same Perkins Coie that's been at the center of every major Democrat psyop against Donald Trump since 2016. If you don't remember, Perkins Coie didn't just work with Hillary Clinton's campaign. They were directly involved in manufacturing the biggest political hoax in modern history. They were the ones who hired Fusion GPS, which then worked with an ex-British spy, Christopher Steele, to fabricate the Steele dossier, a complete phony hit piece full of ridiculous allegations that the FBI itself admitted had zero credibility, yet that baseless, unverified, Hillary-funded opposition research somehow became the basis for a FISA warrant to illegally spy on Trump's campaign and then administration after he won the election. The DNC and Hillary Clinton colluded with foreign agents and weaponized the highest levels of American intelligence to sabotage a presidential election, to unseat a duly elected president. They lied to a FISA court multiple times, claiming the Steele dossier was credible, even after their own sources admitted that it was pure garbage. And what was the result? A completely baseless witch hunt that dominated Trump's first 2 years in office, led to the sham Mueller report investigation, another empty vessel like Joe Biden that they were clearly controlling, in an effort to completely derail a duly elected president's ability to govern. And who was at the center of all of it? Perkins frickin' Coie. They were the legal hit squad for Hillary and the DNC. And this latest development ought to tell you all that you need to know about January 6th and the political strategy behind it. It was an operation, which probably explains why Nancy Pelosi was sitting at the ready with a documentary film crew. And it also ought to tell you all that you need to know about Perkins Coie and why Donald Trump this week decided to drop the hammer on the law firm, revoking security clearances for Perkins Coie lawyers and others linked to the deep state psyop machine.
Sir, your administration has made it a priority both to end lawfare and the weaponization of government, and also to hold those who have engaged in lawfare accountable. One of the law firms that has been involved in that is called Perkins Coie. That's also a law firm that has engaged in unlawful DEI practices. This executive order will suspend security.
And I've watched it take place.
This executive order will suspend security clearances and access to certain federal resources for that law firm, and also launch a holistic review of unlawful DEI practices at some of the nation's largest law firms.
This is an absolute honor to sign. What they've done is it's just terrible. It's weaponization. You could say weaponization against a political opponent, and it should never be allowed to happen again.
This was long overdue. These people have been abusing their access to classified information for years, running legal cover for some of the most corrupt political operations in modern history. They should have never had security clearances in the first place. Perkins Coie isn't a normal law firm. They're not just some group of attorneys arguing over contracts in court. They've been embedded in the intelligence community, working hand in hand with some of the dirtiest operatives in government, using classified information not for national security purposes, but for raw political power. And their entire political operation relies on weaponized intelligence. They need access to classified briefings to coordinate their legal witch hunts, to selectively leak damaging information, or to manufacture narratives that keep their corrupt machine running. And well, Trump just cut them off at the source. No more privileged access, no more deep state back channels, and no more free flow of intel to fuel the hoax machine. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Just hitting you guys with a little Ray Epps update to use as an excuse to rant about Perkins Coie for 8 minutes. Hopefully you enjoyed it like usual. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.